Cassie to everybody that meet Cassie. Y'all know that.
Cassie knew from a very early age that she wanted to be famous. But she didn't go to a performance art school, take dance lessons, start modeling, and move to New York just to be a famous side piece. No. Cassie wanted to get into the entertainment business. And the girl could do it all. Sing, dance, model, and she had aspirations to act as well. She moved for the very same reason that every wide-eyed teenager does. For a shot. A sliver of a chance at turning a dream into something that you could hold in your hands. Something tangible. Maybe a record deal. Maybe a hit song. And maybe, just maybe, a future that didn't look like the one back in Connecticut. So no, she didn't leave Connecticut to become someone's accessory. She went to Manhattan to be seen, to be heard, and to matter. And for a moment, her dream was reality. She was just 18 when she arrived in New York. 1 year later, she got discovered. 2 years later, she was everywhere. Music videos, billboards, magazine covers. And that's what people saw. But what they didn't see, what we all missed, was the moment that Diddy saw her. That changed everything. Because the moment that Sean Diddy Combs heard her song, Me and You, he said that it haunted him. Haunted is the word that he used. And when a man with that much power becomes obsessed with a girl who's barely legal, the story stops being about music and it starts being about control. So before we get to the monster, let's rewind. Let's return to the girl, the one who just wanted to make her mark. Before the headlines, before the trauma, before the silence. Who was Cassie before Diddy? And what happens when the man offering you the world is secretly building your cage? So let's take it back, way back, before the music, before the headlines, before Diddy, back to New London, Connecticut. That's where Cassie was born and raised. And it's not exactly the first place that you'd expect a pop star to come from, but it was a small and quiet town. And Cassie stood out, not just because she was beautiful, but because she didn't fit neatly into one box. Cassie is of Filipino and African and West Indian descent, and that gave her a very unique kind of beauty. But it also meant growing up constantly navigating her identity.
My mom's dad is West Indian from Anguilla and Bequia, and her mother is Black and Mexican. And then my dad's family, all Filipino. So half Filipino, half Black on my birth certificate.
And if you ask her what grounded her, what kept her humble was her parents. Cassie's close with her family, and she said that they raised her right, and by all accounts, they did. They supported her career from the start, and not in that flashy stage parent kind of support, but the steady, show up for your recitals, drive you to the photo shoot, that kind of parent. And that's the kind of foundation that you don't see on magazine covers, but it shows up in the way that she carried herself.
Right. Well, I really was fascinated by the fashion industry at a really young age. I started modeling when I was 12. I didn't get signed until I was 14, but actually started working when I was 12 years old. So now I'm 20, and almost half my life I've spent in the entertainment industry. And it's all about the work and all about really, enjoying what you're doing. I ultimately just really, I wanted to be a part of it in any way I could. And I knew that, maybe modeling was a good way, maybe one day I'll design. You never know what's going to happen and what I wanted to do. And I chose to do that. So I modeled throughout school and high school and graduated and moved to New York to do it.
From the beginning, Cassie had that thing. She was cool, she was calm, she was collected. It was a quiet pull, not loud, not attention-seeking, but compelling. She danced, she sang, she joined school plays, she entered local pageants, anything that let her express something bigger than what New London had to offer.
It was something that I had dreams of doing for a long time. I was singing my whole life. I sang in church. I did all that. I was in the choir at school. We had these little shows in middle school where the kids would get to put together a full show, like a musical, and I got to compose and write the music, which was cool at a young age to have that experience. And I was playing the piano then.
By 14, she was already stepping into the modeling world, and Wilhelmina Models signed her, which is a huge deal at that age. And soon she was hopping between schools and shoots and balancing algebra homework with ad campaigns and 17 magazine spreads. It was glamorous sometimes, but it was also awkward. Juggling teenage awkwardness and industry expectations is no joke, and Cassie was living in both worlds at once. She attended Williams School, which was a private prep school in Connecticut, and it was there, in those polished halls and quiet classrooms, that her dreams started taking a sharper shape.
You could take, at that school, you could take a chorus, you could play an instrument, you could take theater, anything you wanted, in the performing arts. It was there for you at that school. I did modern ballet and jazz. Yeah. It was I think it was an important thing for me, a great thing. And I got into the musical theater program. So I started performing and singing on stage, which was a hard thing for me to overcome. And was taking vocal lessons, meeting with producers, a lot of different things.
She was a girl who didn't need to say much. Her style, her energy, the way she moved through a room, it said it all enough. You noticed her. She graduated in 2004, and Cassie did what every small town dreamer eventually has to do. She packed up and moved to New York City.
I moved to New York when I was 18 to pursue a dream of being in the entertainment industry.
And there, she enrolled in classes at the Broadway Dance Center and kept modeling and chasing every opportunity that might bring her closer to her dream. She didn't come to New York just to be seen. She came to make something of herself. And for a while, it felt like the city was listening. She didn't have to scream to be noticed. She whispered. And still, people listened. People like music producer Ryan Leslie.
People, kept asking me, do you sing? And I was like, yeah, I really want to do it, but I don't know the steps to take. Moving to New York, meeting Ryan Leslie helped me along the way.
When you have a smoking hot product on your hands, people get excited about the product. People fall in love with the product. And Puffy fell in love with Cassie. And that's his girlfriend today.
When I got to New York in October, I met Ryan at a party. I was actually picking up a check from a friend.
He met her at Marquee. He said that she stood out in a room full of gorgeous women, and she knew every lyric to every rap song, and that caught him. Cassie, for her part, wasn't immediately sold, but a makeup artist had told her, he's talented, he's fun, you'd get along.
Actually, Diddy's makeup artist, a young lady by the name of Mila, who had told me about this young woman who had a beautiful texture to her voice that just needed to be developed.
And maybe it wasn't chemistry at first. Maybe it was curiosity, a little caution, a little hope.
I gave my number to him.
She was a little reluctant to let me know that she had a voice for real.
I wasn't gonna come out and be like, oh, I'm a singer or song.
It wasn't until her mother coaxed us into cutting a record.
She was like, look, you should just really ask him. Do this favor for me, for my birthday, record me a song. And I was like, you have to pay producers. I was like, I don't have any money.
And she hesitated. She didn't think that she was ready. Didn't think that her voice was good enough. Isn't that how it goes for so many young women? They're brilliant, they're talented, and they still wait for permission to take up space. But her mother gave her the nudge. She said, do it for my birthday. So Cassie did. The song was Kiss Me. Just a girl, a beat maker, and a dream that she borrowed from herself. And in that fluke moment, Ryan brought her to Casablanca Records to grab the CD. She wasn't even supposed to be on display. She was just passing through. And Tommy Mottola noticed her.
FedEx the CD to her mom.
Yeah.
And she says, yo, where can I pick the CD up from? And I said, well, I'm at Tommy's office on Fifth Avenue, Tommy Mottola's office. You can come up here, get the CD, and, after I leave this meeting, we'll go FedEx it together. So Tommy says to me, because she walked in the lobby, and Tommy's like, yo, who's that in the lobby? Because she, very, very striking.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody saw her, it was striking. He said, yo, who's that in the lobby? I said, oh, yeah, that's Cassie. Yeah, that's my girl. Yeah, I love to meet her. Tell her, oh, so what do you do, et cetera? What brings you to the office?
Yeah.
She said, oh, well, I need to FedEx this CD to my mom. I said, CD? You sing? She's like, no, I don't really sing like that. But he said, nah, let me hear it. Quick, just like that, from walking into the lobby to send a CD that we had made for her mom's birthday to now being introduced as the new artist of Casablanca Records.
That moment, the one in Casablanca Records, was lightning. It's what everyone could only dream to happen. Mottola saw it instantly. The same thing that Ryan had heard in her first demo. Not just a voice, but a tone and a texture, something rare and raw, something that you can't manufacture. She was a package deal. She had all the writings of a superstar.
Tommy saw magic in this thing, and I think he saw some of the same things that I saw, in that Cassie just had a special voice, but not only a voice, but even the texture of her voice, the way that she delivered the record was something that was special, and something that really, it really touched the heartstring.
And just like that, Cassie's era began.
When Ryan and I get into the studio, we do everything from scratch. I come in the studio, he lays down a beat, he plays back and forth. Like, do you like this? What do you want to hear? What's your mood?
They cut Me and You in May 2005, and it wasn't loud, but it didn't need to be.
We were listening to Hot 97, and somebody called us, yeah, turn on the radio, Hot 97. And we just started screaming and singing the song. And we actually have it on camera. Ryan taped it, of course.
The track slithered its way through the speakers like a secret on the verge of being confessed. It was lo-fi, it was sexy, it was hypnotic. And it was the kind of song that didn't beg for your attention. It seduced it. It whispered in your ear, and it stayed there.
It's my first radio interview, and I'm really, really nervous.
And we have somebody new here to Toronto, new to the scene, new on the charts, and we're doing up real here.
What's up? My name is Cassie. I'm with Next Selection, and I'm so excited that you guys are playing my song.
It's real big here on Flow 93.5. We've gotten to hear the song Blazing. Everybody's been asking about that sample, man. And me and you sample. Who's that girl? What's her name?
And people weren't just listening. That song, people were getting obsessed. But there was no one that listened harder than he did. Because Sean Diddy Combs, the mogul, the kingmaker, the man used to being the sun in every room, the monster, suddenly it was this girl that he later admitted the first time he heard Me and You, it haunted him. Haunted. That's the word he chose. It's like a ghost that he couldn't shake, like a spell. He had to know who she was. He had to find her, and he had to make her his.
I started hearing this record that was haunting me in the clubs, and it was, it was Cassie's record, Me and You, and it was I would hear it everywhere I was at, and so I kept asking, what record is that? And Glenn told me that it was Ryan's, actually it was Cassie. When I saw her and I met her and I saw this DVD on her, hopefully we can play that. That's what kind of made me really fall in love with the project, because I saw something more than just records. I saw something that there was a personality there. There was something that, the whole world could fall in love with.
He claimed the world needed to fall in love with her, but really, what he meant is that he did. It wasn't admiration, it wasn't discovery, it was possession in slow motion.
How I can perceive it from the perception of how I can go about it, I seen Ryan Leslie around, Cassie around, Diddy around. 3.2 seconds later, Ryan Leslie ain't around no more. and it's just Cassie and Diddy.
And that's the part that I guess we never questioned, because we mistook his obsession for just another opportunity. And we thought we were watching a dream unfold, but what we were really watching was her dream getting rewritten.
Signed the bad boy. I want y'all to give it up for Cassie.
When you have a smoking hot product on your hands, people get excited about the product. People fall in love with the product. And Puffy fell in love with Cassie. And that's his girlfriend today.
Yeah, I pinch myself every day for sure. To try to figure out, when did things change so quickly? Living in a dream, literally. And, no matter how hard I work, and what I'm doing, at the end of the day, I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to do it. And, it's a passion. You don't put yourself in these types of situations to have, people really focus on you for nothing. So I'm just really proud to be where I am. And I'm really blessed.
On paper, it looked like a fairy tale. She signed a bad boy, she got a remix with Diddy, she performed, she modeled, she wore couture. But underneath the surface, something was darker. And it was invasive, and it was all-consuming. By Cassie's own testimony, things changed on her 21st birthday in Vegas. And what started as a professional relationship turned personal and fast. Diddy kissed her in a hotel bathroom and she was confused. She didn't know how to say no. And she didn't fully understand the power dynamic that she was now tangled in.
You definitely probably seen the dark side. Was there ever a time where you were just like, yo, I'm done with this, I'm quitting, I can't deal with these sleazebags no more?
No, I got past it. I overcame all that.
When she was testifying on the stand at Diddy's trial, she said to a Manhattan jury, "I'm a young new artist who did not really know the lay of the land. He chose what was next for me, basically." And what was next was not music. It was basically controlling her entire life.
Made for some very heartfelt, real recordings, and it's actually ironic that my second single features her, because really the story behind that record is, it really was supposed to be her single.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's on the hook.
Yeah, she's on the hook.
But she wasn't in the video.
Wasn't in either video. 2 videos.
Right. And why is that?
I wish you could tell me the answer to that one.
And that blew my fucking mind, because Cassie and Ryan Leslie looked like they was damn near finna get married, bruh. Diddy came through in that bitch and wreck shop. Took his bitch, basically. And once he took his bitch, Ryan Leslie stopped coming around.
At this point, Diddy wasn't just a producer. He was a machine. He was a lifestyle brand. He was a man that turned Biggie into a legend and turned himself into rap royalty. And he could make or break careers with a nod. And he nodded hard at Cassie.
So dancing, can I see some dancing? Y'all ain't got a dance playback, please. I need to see one move.
Have you ever watched a dream become a cage? Because that's what we're watching in real time.
You want to be an accomplished person. You want to be successful. You want to show people your artistry. And you have to stay focused and you can't give up.
And she basically was like, I didn't do nothing to Diddy. I didn't deserve what he did. And she was like, I just wanted to be an artist. I just wanted to do my thing. He took advantage of me, period. That's exactly what she said. He took advantage of me. He took advantage of my innocence.
Cassie went from being a promising R&B star to Diddy's girl in record time. Her musical identity was quickly eclipsed by her proximity to his power. And she was no longer known for what she sang, but for who she belonged to. And that's not an accident. That's branding. That is domination masquerading as opportunity.
I just believe that he treated her more like a toy than his actual artist.
Cassie never got to be her full self. Her debut album was essentially her last. The hits stopped coming, not because the talent disappeared, but because her spotlight got hijacked.
In different relationships.
Yeah.
Let me see. Well, you signed now to the Bad Boy label. What is he really like?
Puffy. He's a cool guy. He's a character, but very passionate about his work and, you know, just excited about music. You know, he's being released later this year, and Bad Boy's doing well, and all of this stuff. But he's just a really great guy. He's a good guy.
I'm headed home tomorrow, going to visit my family and relax, kick back before I jump into next week. And took a quick visit to get away from the crazy city and all the crazy stuff I've been doing.
And you have to ask yourself, why didn't she release more music? Yes, there were a few singles here and there, but why did her voice disappear while her face remained on Diddy's arms? Is that coincidence or control?
Lovely and beautiful Cassie. It's been about, 2 years since your last album dropped. Me and you had the radio smash. What's different now about this new album?
This new album is a little bit more of me, and I've taken the time out to really find my sound and my flavor.
Is there an official release date for the next album?
Definitely I'm getting close to the name now for the album. And the release date is next year. I want to say
first quarter?
I want to say first quarter.
Okay.
But you know how it is now. I'm just honestly most excited about getting another single and video out.
She was a very young and impressionable artist who obviously was concerned and had a little bit of fear about being dropped instantly.
You ever concerned of just being dropped that fast instantly?
It can happen at any second, and that's why I don't let there be any room for people to say, oh, she forgot to do that? Okay, no, she's gotta go. I just try to cover everything. Okay, did I do this today? Did I go to the gym? Did I make it to the label? Did I talk to this person? It's important for me to cover all ground because I don't want that to be my problem.
Okay, so you keep all your business in line.
Keep all my ducks in a row.
During this time, making the band was huge, and we were able to see just how controlling and demanding and harsh that Diddy can be towards his artist. Having that type of power, you see Cassie here basically saying she doesn't want to mess up. She wants to do everything in her power to not be cast aside. And do you know how the grooming process works? You know how you can break a person without ever raising your voice? You don't have to scream. You just seduce. You offer them everything they've ever wanted: love, luxury, fame, stardom, hit songs. And just when they reach out for it, you twist the strings. You pull, you watch them dangle. That's how you break someone slowly and intimately from the inside out. And that's how Diddy did it. So why did Cassie never become the next big thing? Cassie had it. Mystique, the aesthetic, the sound. So why was she not the next Aaliyah or Janet? The truth is, she never stood a chance because it wasn't just about music. Diddy controlled the releases, but then blamed Cassie for the lack of output. There were songs that were made and cut, and then it was refused to be released. He reportedly told her, if you're not releasing music, you're not doing your job. But she couldn't release music because that wasn't what he wanted from her.
The record hit all DJs, all radio stations, hit Sean Prez, to be up on iTunes in a couple of weeks. It's just something, if y'all remember the Total joints I used to do back in the days, the 112 remix, Can't Nobody Hold Me, any of those bad boy classics that just got that, you know what I'm saying? That swag to it, this right here is taking you back to that time, but bringing it up to date, with a Cassie joint, shout out to all the DJs that have supported her and everything, and just wanted to give y'all a taste of what it's like being in a mix, mixing a record. What you got to say?
I just want to say thank you to everybody, and I hope everybody likes the record. It's definitely an honor to be on what Puff is calling a bad boy classic. So,
but it's up to y'all. Y'all got to make it classic.
Oh yeah, you got to make it classic.
Yeah.
It sounds classic, but you got to make it classic. So tell your DJs to get on it. And thank you so much, everybody, for your support and for being patient with me, because I know I've been in the studio for a while now.
Yeah.
According to Cassie, she said that she had another job. And that job were the freak-offs. The truth is, Cassie never stood a chance. Glamour was a trap, and the relationship was a cage. He saw her, he wanted her, and Diddy doesn't court, he captures. He didn't just sign Cassie to Bad Boy. He wrapped her in a 10-album contract like a python wraps its prey. So let that sink in. 10 albums for a singer that barely was known outside of MySpace. In the very early stages of her being an artist. That's not development. It's entrapment. And what does that do to a man who knows that he can get away with anything? You become unhinged. You start seeing people as possessions. You record them, you threaten them, you silence them, you pay for their silence, and you dare anyone to stop you. Diddy wasn't just exerting control, he was obliterating Cassie's autonomy.
Girl. But I think that a second single will help people fall in line.
All right. That's what it is. Next album coming.
Yes.
One last question. Yeah. I gotta ask you, romantically, you've been linked to a few big people. Without saying any names, you just put the rumors to rest. Who are you dating, Cassie? Who's your man?
My man is my music.
Your music?
I'm married to the music. I tell everyone this. No, I really don't have time to have a real relationship, and that's the most honest truthfulness ever. I don't even know if those words. That's the truth. I don't have time.
Oh,
I would love to be in a relationship if somebody could roll and just kind of.
What about Mikey Fresh? He's single.
Cassie's music became background noise to Diddy's brand. She was no longer a rising artist. She was, quote unquote, Diddy's girl. And eventually, she wasn't even that. Just someone whose voice was quieted while her image was paraded. And a lot of people were asking, like, why didn't she leave? Why didn't she walk away? But ask yourself, when someone owns your music, your apartment, your body, your secrets, where exactly are you going to run? She wasn't just manipulated, she was conditioned over time, over trauma, over promises, over pills, over threats. And that's not love, and I wouldn't call that mentorship. That is psychological warfare. So is Diddy creating stars, or is he manufacturing slaves? Because his track record with artists is a cautionary tale that is finally come due. We got Diddy Kane, Day 26, Mace, even Biggie, all bright stars that fizzled out or burned out fast under his management, killed under his management. Is that just bad luck or a pattern of control? That's what I mean. It seems like Diddy didn't just create artists. With some of them, he collected them. And let's not even talk about making the band. We should do a separate one on that. But the cheesecake runs, the breakdowns, all of the humiliation. I don't even know if that was scripted reality TV. I think that what we were watching was real. And now looking back, it was his manual, his textbook answer on how to build submission and how to test desperation. It just didn't make any sense that he was willing to fire all the members of Diddy Kane, throw them away like they're trash on the drop of a hat. But he was very protective of Cassie. Cassie even mentioned it here, performance that she gave when she was an artist early on. And Cassie talked about it here.
My very first live performance was in front of 19,000 people that were singing along with me.
Damn, something.
Mm-hmm. But it went well.
Okay.
And then for TV, it was just everybody was standing there and it was quiet and nobody was rocking out, and I was just I don't know exactly what happened in those moments, but I learned from it.
Her BET performance bombed. It looked like she froze, and it wasn't that she lacked talent, but she didn't do the best job, and Diddy publicly defended her. I don't know if it was because he was in love. I feel like it was about ownership, and you defend what you own.
What's up, y'all? It's your friendly neighborhood international rap mogul superstar, designer extraordinaire, actor, marathon runner, father, friend. You know, I do it all, baby. TV producer. Enough about me. It's my homegirl Cassie right here. And we're coming to you live from our photo shoot for ID Magazine. She has her album in stores right now. Cassie, go get it. You'll know the hit single, Me and You. And, you know, we always communicate to you guys first. There's some things that have been on my mind that I asked Cassie if I could address. When you're a recording artist, you know, you have good days and you have bad days. A lot of times people don't understand that. Today I want to talk about how I feel as a record executive working with young talent. When you sign somebody that's young, you have to be there with them through their ups and their downs. My homegirl Cassie right here, she had a I would say it was a whack show. She had a pretty whack show on BET. You know, did not perform at the level of the bad boy excellence, I would say. That's keeping it all the way funky, you know? But it's very important that y'all understand that Bad Boy, we with our artists through their growth period, through their bad shows, through their good shows. You know, we love them when their records are hot. We love them when they trip and fall. At Bad Boy, we there for people through ups and downs. For all of you new young artists out there that think this is easy, it's not easy, you know? You have to be able to fall down and get up. Granted, she had a whack show, but she also got the hottest song in the clubs, and she ain't never gonna give up because she down with Bad Boy. Every show she'll keep getting better and better and better.
I believe he was showing off his possession. He was defending his possession because he didn't really do that with any of his other artists. And she's already told the jury in testimony, at that point, Sean controlled a lot of my life. Whether it was my career, the way I dressed, everything.
He jumped off the bar, came on and said, yo, Cassie, tomorrow, I want you to shave the side of your head. And I was like,
pretty awesome. The music industry has definitely influenced my style a lot. I've taken so many more chances.
And I was like, what the fuck kind of request is that? So when I'm like, what the fuck? So when I look up there, this white woman's side of her head was shaved. And the bitch looked good with it. So I was looking at Cassie, I was like, I was like, you're not about to do that, are you? She said, well, I mean, whatever Sean wants, I'm gonna do.
We thought that she was the one that was fashion forward, and maybe it was her idea to test some of these fashion boundaries. But in retrospect, that was all him, controlling every aspect of how she looked. I think that Diddy's love was just a form of domination. And let's be honest, in my humble opinion, I feel like there's something deeply predatory about a 37-year-old mogul pursuing a 19-year-old artist that's under his label, especially when her original producer, Ryan Leslie, was her boyfriend, and especially when Diddy already had multiple women, including Kim Porter, who was at home. Especially now that we know Cassie was plucked, isolated, pursued, and reprogrammed. And he gave her the world, but it came with a lot of rules. Stay close, stay quiet, stay dependent. His love for her, quote unquote, it didn't free her, it bound her. So what does it do to a man to know that he can get away with anything? You create sex tapes for leverage, you threaten and record women, you pay off people, you dare anyone to defy you, and when they do, you remind them that you have backup copies. Cassie's story is one about how power unquestioned can mutate into evil. And the truth is, it's much louder than the music. And if you thought that this rap mogul was toxic, wait until you hear about pop music's most toxic stage mom. Out of 5 of her children, 3 are gone. Jane's obsession with fame, control, and money turned her into one of pop music's most toxic stage moms ever. She built a pop empire on her kids' fame and then created a legacy not of success, but of tragedy. It's a story worth telling. Click here so I can tell you all about it.